because I don't like putting it. Okay, happy Wednesday, y'all. I am super excited. We're gonna make sure we're recording this, but I asked some of our latest rubies that have promoted recently in the last couple of months to hop on with us tonight because you guys, if you are noticing a theme, Ruby is like the glue and the pieces to everything. So whether it's you're doing Ruby or you're duplicating Ruby, that is literally what we're doing all the time. No matter if you're going triple diamond, no matter if you're going presidential, no matter if you're going diamond, all the things. And then this month, if you haven't caught the new kickoff call on the road to VIP, everything is based around Ruby. And it is that for a reason. Like I tell this all the time. One thing I've always loved about It Works in our company is like when they are preaching something to you, they are giving something to you, they literally are leading you in the right direction for everything. So remember that this month, if you are not yet Ruby, your goal is Ruby, okay? So if you're brand new, or maybe you're catching the recording and you're new and you just got started, your goal is Ruby no matter what. Okay, so if you want to see what that looks like, you're going to go print off the map and you can get it from your mentor, and we can show you exactly where to find it even in our boards. But if you are Ruby, your next thing is duplicating Ruby. So your next one is teaching 2 people to go Ruby, which is Emerald. And here's the thing, if you are paid as Emerald by the end of the month this month, and you have 2 rubies go, right? So there's your 2 rubies to your Emerald. You not only are promoting obviously to a higher rank, which doubles your commissions, but also you can earn a $500 bonus on each of your personally enrolled rubies. And what that means is that has to be a distributor that you have signed, not a distributor that was placed under you, but a distributor that you have signed, your own teammate. And again, if you're going for your foreign a friend bonuses, those are going to be your own people anyways, right? For you to actually get the foreign friend bonus, the 100 and the 50, you have to be the enroller. So again, we always say BYOB. If you are building your own business, I promise you your commissions and your earnings are usually going to be above the average that is listed right there for you. So you want to be that enroller. And if you are doing, and this is actually for June and July. So just remember that if you, every personally enrolled Ruby that you pop and that you teach and that is duplicating, you get a $500 bonus with that. And if you are promoting to Ruby for the first time, I was just showing Karli this with her new girls that are coming on board. But you guys, if you go and you have the quick start tracker that is found in our app, but it's also under the new DT launch in our boards, and there's documents to print. I have now uploaded it in there so that you can easily print it. If you go follow that, you can earn $800 in weekly bonuses by going Ruby and building to Ruby by the end of the month. Plus, you will also get a free ticket to Green Carpet that is happening with one of our events that is happening in September. Okay, so Ruby is what it is. And if you've already gone Ruby, what you're going to do is you're going to be teaching Ruby. That is it, plain and simple. So we are going to have a couple of our Rubies on. Karli, I am going to start with you. First of all, I have to tell you this. These girls are fresh in this business. And this is truly why I wanted to pick them to come in here and to share with you. But I also love that I'm like, they're so different than me. I tell you, like, I was like, girls, I really want to have you guys on. I think it would be so dang helpful. We have so many new people that are getting started and getting their businesses launched. And they like didn't skip a beat. They're like, we're there. I'm like, yeah. So I was like diamond, double diamond, and they were like, hey, can you be on a corporate call? And I think I was dying. Like I wanted to crawl in a hole and say absolutely not. So this is one thing that already sets them apart. They're like here ready to rock. But I'm like, I want you to share what you're doing, because here's the thing. Your person that you joined, we are going to guide you. We can teach you. We are going to be there to help you with everything. But you still have to be able to pick up the tools, and you have to be willing to use them. And you do have to be willing to find your way while doing so, because there's going to be things that Karli does that maybe I don't do that work super, super well for her. And she's not going to know that until she kind of starts trying. So eventually we all kind of just decide like, hey, we're going to boldly blaze our trail and we're going to start sharing what's working. And it's all a little different, but that's okay. That's the beauty of this business. Okay. And that is how as a team, we are able to relate to such a bigger amount of people and group of people. So Karli, I'm going to start with you first. Just tell us a little bit about why you started It Works and what you were wanting in this business and just what it has changed for you in such a short amount of time.
Well, I started because I work for Sarah, and so she was always just, oh, it's just my face,
I
not like
know. I'm sorry. You can put your view on, but I want people to see you when they're watching the recording.
okay. No, that's fine. So I just started because, I work for the O'Connells, and so I'm around them all the time anyway. And Sarah was just always talking about her business, and I was like, dang, like Sloan is going to preschool. I have all of these classes. Like I'm a full-time student, and it's like nearly impossible to work around my class schedule. And so I just like talked to her one day, and I was like, Sarah, is this something that I could do? And she was like, oh my gosh, absolutely. Like, yes, please. And then I think it was like pretty much the same day that we got started and I signed up and I just kind of took the jump and did it. And so far, it's just, I'm a person, I like to go and do a lot of fun things. And it's been able to help me go do fun things without checking, like, oh, can I pay my rent? Oh, can I fill up my gas? Oh, can I go buy a food full or a fridge full of groceries? Or do I just need to like buy snacks? And so it's just kind of covered some little extra things for me so far, and I'm really grateful for it. It's been great. Oh,
Sorry, my thing wasn't unmuting. And I love it because again, you guys, we have so many people that take a long time to decide if they want to do this for this. And honestly, I had zero clue that Karli was like even interested, nor did I even know she was watching my stuff. And it's funny because she's at my house all the time, but she also went and interacted on my story. And I was like, did she just accidentally do that? Or does she really want to do this? And I'm thinking to myself, like, yes, like just know that people are watching you because we didn't necessarily talk about it. She obviously just sees the different products and sees me on my stories and things like that. But know that people are watching and no matter how long it takes. But again, Karli didn't like take a long time to decide. Maybe she did if she didn't share it with me. But once I was like, hey, when do you want to get started? She was like, I'm going for it. And I think honestly, one of the best things about that, you guys, is that eventually you just kind of have to have that mindset, whether it's like the new stuff that you're trying in this business or whatever. Like I just learned same thing that you might not know the answer or the how to everything, but if you just start doing it, it kind of works itself out. So, what are three tips? If you could break it down, what are three tips that you have for those that are just getting started and have a goal of Ruby?
I would say honestly, just stay like I just stayed focused and just like I listened to everything that Sarah had to tell me. She was like, okay, this is like what's gonna lead you to be successful. This is what like I would recommend. And I just like took everything and I was like, okay, she's been doing this for a long time. If she knows what she's doing and she's doing it well, then I should just follow suit because why, why would I not? And I just kind of also realized too that like the only person who could get in the way of me doing this is myself. And so I was just like, I got out of my own head. I was really worried at first. I was like, people are going to think that like I'm just trying to be an influencer and like this, that. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't care what they think because I enjoy doing this and I'm going to get paid doing it. And I just like, I got out of my own way and got out of my own head. And I was like, let's just go. Let's just do it. And it doesn't matter. And so I would just say just staying focused and getting out of your own way. But then what I found really works best was following up. Like I didn't really, I was like, like the what do you say, Sarah?
I
The
always
forces
say,
and the follow up.
yeah, yeah,
And
good
I was
point.
like, oh, like if they're not answering me, like I don't want to be pushy and I don't want to like keep nagging them. But then Sarah was like, no, just like text them and be like, hey, did you see this message? Your cart's going to expire, blah, blah, blah. And I did that. And then I had like 4 orders and I was like, oh, she knows what she's talking about again. And so I just like focusing, following up, and getting out of my own way has been like my main things that have led me to be successful. And then also like I haven't made any like actual posts on Instagram about it. I did make one today, just like sharing a little bit because I went to a concert last night and just kind of was like, hey, like this helped me pay for my ticket. But I just like I stay really consistent on my stories and I'm just like post and then I always do ones that people interact with, like the polls and stuff, because I found that those work better. Even if people accidentally click on them, I message them anyway, even if I'm like, oh, there's no way this person like meant to click on it. And I just message them and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing. These are the products, whatever. And then I've had a few buyers be like, oh, like that's actually great. I didn't even need to click on this, but I want to know more now. And so just focusing, following up, and I just post on my story. I just kind of do the most random things and it works, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing is when she's even talking about following, I will say Karli is so coachable. Like if I am telling like I can see her wheels spinning like I don't know if I'm gonna do that. And then I'm like, Karli, don't even think about it. Just actually go do it and just trust me. And so here's the thing that I want you guys to know is that anybody that is helping you that is on this team, we do not teach people to be pushy. We don't teach people to be salesy. We teach people to actually, yes, you can give the same wording. Like Karli's going to give the same exact wording of what Simply Aloe does that Lisa gives, but we are also going to branch off. We are people. We talk to people like they are people. And you just have to know that. Like there's things that we all pay very close attention to. So when it does come to follow ups, like my follow-ups and what I teach for these girls even is not they're not long, you guys. It's so
Mhm.
short. It's like a simple little reminder that's popped in there. And honestly, like I was telling somebody, I'm like, listen, if you were talking to somebody about this business and then Karli or myself or Lisa or whoever just never followed up with you, what are you thinking? Like, you're not thinking to yourself, like, wow, they're committed to me or they're like willing like they're you're seeing that as like oh they had a one conversation and they totally forgot about me like they're I mean that's more so showing like you're in it for yourself. However, when you actually say like I'll even say in a quick message in my follow-ups like hey I didn't forget about you but I was just giving you some time to look over or to see if you had any extra questions that I could answer for you, but I want to know today if I can help you get started, you know. And so I have just different short ways to do that, but the truth is you guys is that people do get busy and follow ups can be so short and sweet, but they can bring so much to your business. And you have to remember when Karli goes to follow up and she has 4 people sign up, that's a $50 bonus. Like straight up in one day that she's rolling with, and now obviously working with that volume and being able to now she's as she's building to Emerald. Okay, so yeah, I absolutely love that you shared those things. Following up, being so extremely coachable, and knowing that to get different results, you guys, you are going to be doing different things than what you've ever done before. But again, that's what brings you the results that you watch happen for other people that you're like, I can do that. Like, I want to do that. Right. And so just know that getting out of your comfort zone is going to completely pay off. So, okay, tell me this. What did you find most helpful and influential when you were getting started? And just like getting going when doing like the core four. So when we talk about the core four, we're talking about posting and sharing on social media, your messaging, following up, growing your network, and interacting. Following up goes in messaging. So there's interacting in there. But what did you find? Like, was there certain resources that helped you, Karli? Because obviously, when we're all getting started, and you guys, even if you're on here and you're like, I'm not getting started, but guess what? Every single one of us should be having a goal of getting new people started. So even if you're past that stage and you're like, well, I know how to do those things, hearing from new people, like I ask for feedback from my new DTs. I'm like, what are you finding that was super helpful for you to get like out of that spot of overthinking? Because I want to know the resources and I want to hear that back from them so that we know as a team, like we are helping people get past those things, right? So that we can get them earning bonuses. And Karli, you've shown that. Like you've earned so many dang bonuses, weekly bonuses. Like I tell her, I'm like, you do have a commission check coming too. And she's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love this, you know?
Yeah.
So share with us what you have found most helpful and influential in just knocking out those core four consistently.
I honestly, I use the boards all the time. I go in, even if I'm not sending messages to anyone, like I'll just get on my phone and I'll just look through the boards and be like, okay, like what information can I grab from this? I've always been like a fairly, like, actually, I'm a very resourceful person. I won't even be like, I'm a very resourceful person. And so, like, if I have resources presented to me, like, I'm going to use them. And so I will go just look through the boards and be like, okay, like, what is this product? What is this product? Even if it's not ones, like we post about the aloe all the time and the coffees all the time, but there are like, we have so many things. I look on our website and I'm like, I didn't even know that we had this. And so I just go and I just like try to get all of the information I can and then try to just know those. I don't want to say know it, but just like I use the boards and I use the diamond high. Whoa, my light just turned off. Hold on. There we go.
Hey, are you using your new ring light?
No,
Oh,
I have
okay.
an iHome vanity mirror and I'm just at my desk right
Okay.
now. But my ring light is going to be set up. I'm going to make content tomorrow.
There you
Uh
go.
And I use like the Diamond Hive things for like posts when I don't have time to make my own. Cause at first I was like, oh, like I don't know, like I don't even have the products in my house. I don't like Sarah has every single product in her house. And so sometimes I just make posts while I'm up there. But I was like, I don't know. And Sarah was like, no, just start posting. Like, just here's this account, do this, post that. And I just take those screenshots and I post them and then I just kind of do my own thing with them. But definitely using the boards and using like the Diamond Hive Tribe account just to like get extra ideas and stuff. And then with the core four that works best for me is just like I was really scared to message people at first. Like, everyone's like, oh, do like the 10 people a day or whatnot. And I was like, that's like crazy. Like, that's weird. But then I just started like messaging people that I like kind of know or like don't even really know. And then they have those seeds planted. And I had a couple girls be like, oh my gosh, like one of my girls that I signed was like, yeah, the first time I ever mentioned it to her, I was like, she was like, yeah, let's do it right now. And I was like, I was not expecting this. So just like messaging and reaching out of my comfort zone and like, because what the worst that someone can say to me is no. And so I just kind of still getting out of my own way and just using the boards and stuff to get that information across to people has been really great.
Karli, and tell me, because you're really good at this, and this is a strong suit for you. And it's actually one of Dani's too. And I noticed just a huge change. So I'm curious, Dani, if you mentioned this, but Karli, you show up like, and I'm gonna shout this one out for her. Karli is on every call. Like, she is on every call. She makes sure that she's on it, and she lives obviously a very busy life. And she's working, she's going to school, she's traveling, she's doing all the things. And so, you are. How do you feel like the calls help you? And then obviously, and then we had an event, and again, like she just, one thing I want to say, you guys, is instead of thinking your way out of something, I want you to retrain your mind and be like, how can I make this work? How can I make this work? How can you start showing up for you consistently? So, whether it's a call, whether it's an event, whether it's showing up for your business, like that is something that I find to be a common theme in people that find success in this business is that they want this to work. They want to show up. So just tell me how those calls have really helped you, even with just like understanding the vision of what you can do with this, because you do show up to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. That was really nice of you. Then, I mean, but I do think that the calls are so beneficial. Like I had a couple friends join me and it didn't quite work out for them, but I was like, no, like here are the calls, here are the times. And I just like, I love listening to people's stories and I love hearing how they become impacted by it could be anything. Like I just love listening to people and like hearing all about what makes them who they are. And so getting to listen to like the Monday motivations, like I've been brought to tears by some of the stories that I've heard, like, and it's just like amazing how life changing this business can actually be. And I was like, wow, like this is what's going to keep me going. Because like hearing that it can like lead to all of these amazing things from these people that didn't have anything. I was like, this is amazing. And so, yeah. And then just going to the event was like one of the best things ever. I like cried and I was like, oh my gosh. And they ended in prayer. And I was like, yes, Jesus, this is where I'm meant to be. Like, thank you. Thank you. And so just like listening to people's stories and seeing how it can impact them and then in turn like impact me, because I feel like I've always been told that like our purpose is to impact other people and like how we do all of that, and I'm a firm believer in that. And so just even like things like that, and I love the Monday night calls. I missed it this Monday. I don't even know what I was doing, but I missed it and I was like, oh my gosh, no. But I always go back and rewatch them if I miss it. But I think it's, they're called Motivation Mondays for a reason, and everyone needs a little motivation, even if you're super far along or high up. And so just getting started and hearing that, like that one, the girl Jessica, she talked about how it took her like a month and a half to get her first customer. And I was like, I would have never thought that. Like she's so
Uh-huh.
successful now. But like everyone has a starting point and you just have to push through it to get to your end goal and not, again, just not let yourself get in the way of that.
And I love that because the Monday, it is so funny because when she first started, that was some, she would message me after that. And I'm like, I love it because here's the thing, you guys, when we did this, like we didn't have Zooms, we didn't have boards, like we didn't, there's so much we didn't have. We were like, I don't even, we were just ignorance on fire. And can I just tell you, like, that still works. Like, it still works. And so here's the thing that I want to share, though, is that we've always had, it's been like Monday, show me the money call, right? It's like Monday motivation call. Like, you get to hear these success stories. And so I just want to share that if like vision is something you lack or even belief in yourself, you want to show up on Mondays for yourself. Just like I pop in an earbud anytime I'm not hosting a Zoom, honestly, truth is I'm a mom of three. I'm usually multitasking. So we talked about this, I think, on a different Zoom, but like stacking your tasks, you guys, it will change your life 100%. Like you will learn that you can do so much in a day purposefully and intentionally if you can stack your tasks. So well, guess what? On Mondays or any call, even if it's VIP or whatever it is, you guys, I have an earbud in and I'm usually like making lunch, I'm making dinner or whatever it is. But like you said, Karli, it's like I've been here for 11 years. Stories never get old to me. I truthfully, I love seeing new faces on there. It is not our goal. The leadership of it works to see the same faces over and over. Like we want to know we are bringing people and the crop is rising with us. Like it's not like I love that, you know? And so just know if you haven't caught those yet or made them a point to make them, you should because they are a game changer for yourself, but also will be for your team. So next thing, Karli, where have you gotten most of your perks members from? Like what have you done that you feel like brings traction that allows you to enroll your perks members?
So a lot of when I very first started, my perks members were mostly my family because I do have a very supportive family, which I know it's not like there are a lot of people who started that their families were like, oh, why would you do this? My family was like, all right, do whatever you want. Like, we don't care. It's fine. And now my mom is obsessed. She literally just sent me her whole haul. She ordered so much stuff. I'm like, okay, girl, like pop off. And so now she's obsessed. And my stepmom is even thinking of being a distributor now because she likes the products and my dad likes the products and everyone loves the products. And I'm like, see, guys, I know what I was getting into. And so I started with mostly just my family. And Sarah had helped me create like a message to send out to a couple of family members and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you want to support me, like, I would love to give you information. But then I just kind of started posting on my stories. And then I had like so many people that like in my, like, what do you call it? A warm network, like people
Yeah.
that I know message me and be like, oh my gosh, well, first of all, everyone thought I was hacked for a minute. But then once they realized that it was me, they were like, oh, like we like, I want to try this. This seems awesome. And I'm like, yeah, it is awesome. So you should try it. And then I had like just a couple ladies, even after starting like the coffees and aloe and like the slimming trio, that like a week later they were like, I have already lost weight, this is amazing. And so just like starting there, and I've grown my network a little bit because I started posting on TikTok, which kind of reaches like a wider audience. And so I've gotten a couple people from there, but right now it's just mostly my warm network and reoccurring orders. But I'm really working to get out there and branch out a little more. So
Okay, last question for Karli because Karli's actually done very well at this. Karli, give them your tips and like how you've gotten your distributors because this is an area where first of all, I'm going to say this, every single person on this team can enroll distributors, okay? And it just takes, it's like a numbers game. That's just this business in general, right? And it's again, you guys, you have to focus on what you can control. You can control showing up and doing your actions. Karli shows up and she does her action and it pays off, right? She's following up, she's sending the messages, she posts on her stories, she does those things, she shows up for the calls, that type of stuff. And so, but at the same time, you also have to know that you have to be doing the things, you have to be going out and asking people and inviting people in because it is not our job to decide who this is for. I always say that. And I say that to myself every day, you guys, when I'm making my 10 people, I'm like, okay, it is not your job to decide who this is for. It is to reach out and let people know that this is a vehicle that they have the opportunity to use if they wish to, right? And so can you just share how you've gotten your DTs? Like, has it been messaging? Is it inviting them? Is it because they're seeing your stories or like you work in the business or how are you getting them?
It's kind of a mix of everything. I had a couple girls on like one of the first times I ever well, it was not one of the first, but like one of the like third or fourth times I'd posted like this opportunity is available for everyone. And they had all messaged me right away and were like, oh my gosh, okay. And I had like created a Google form that was like an application just to see like kind of what they wanted out of this and stuff like that. And then I messaged them, like we messaged back and forth for a few days. I had one girl like getting ready to sign up, and I was actually like really excited about it, but then she just kind of like ghosted me, and I was like, oh, okay. And so that was really discouraging. That was one of the first people I was going to sign up. But then I just kind of like, after listening to a call one day, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to message like all of these random people, like that I've seen, that I know like to post content, that I like, that do this and that. And I'm like, I'm just going to say it. And I'm just going to be like, hey, you know, you are like, I see your posts all the time. I think that this would be great if you're looking for some extra money. Here's this and that. And then I started posting on TikTok and just kind of doing like a, like, I don't even know, just, 18 plus, looking for ways to work from home, this, that, and the other. And then I had a girl I went to like elementary and junior high with, who's now like a teen, not teen, we're 20 now, but like a young single mom. And she was like, this could be like life changing for me and my son. And I just like, I literally broke down in tears, and I was like, this is amazing. And so I don't know, just kind of like a mix of everything. I kind of got a little off track. Sorry. I just get so
No.
excited.
No, but
Um,
it said what you're doing, right? You're putting it out there, you're
mhm,
messaging people, you're not waiting for people to come to you.
yeah.
And I told Karli, I was like, detach the emotion to your message. Like, I
Yeah.
would say, detach the emotion to your action. Like, whatever. So, you guys, same thing, like, post, like, I literally, if somebody went and they were like, hey, did you know you only got 2 likes on this post on Facebook? Like, I would have no clue. And I literally, I do not care. And if there's
Mhm,
one thing I can teach all of you, your value does not lie in the comments or likes in any post that you ever do. Like
yeah.
like we don't care about that. We are not here for that, but we are just being creative in ways that we can share what we have our hands on. And so I think she kind of shared with you. She does message, she does invite people. She doesn't wait for everybody to come to her. She's using multiple resource or like platforms to reach out to people. Karli, one thing you probably didn't mention, but I just know from working with you and in conversation and stuff, is like Karli's really good about having her eyes and ears open. Like, so sometimes she'll see stuff on Snapchat and she'll be like, oh my gosh, I messaged this girl because I saw her, complaining about her work schedule or not having money or like things like
Mhm,
that. And I always say that to everybody. I'm like, you have a solution to so many people's prayers, requests, like wants, and you have to remember that. And so obviously, yes, in your mind, you're like, I'm building this business, but also you also know that like you can change other people's lives in offering what you have, like how many people's lives can you actually impact with this business? So is there any last things that I haven't asked you that you want to share, Karli?
I I don't think so, but yeah, that's actually how I've gotten more of my DTs, is just by like keeping my eyes and ears open, because there are like girls that posted, like, oh, I hate my job. Oh, I need this money, and my parents aren't helping me out. And so then I would just be like, hey, I have something that might be useful to you. And so that was another way that I've done it too. But I've had a lot of people that I know message me off of just my TikToks. And so I just kind of like try to keep it widespread and post about it everywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, last thing though, I do want to say, Karli, do her emotions just happen just naturally on their own and just like flow in, or do you have to go in and get a little gritty and have some intention and like go after some of those customers and getting your map filled out?
Oh yeah. I haven't, most of the time I've had to follow up once, if not twice, and be like, hey,
Yeah.
it's me. Hey, it's me actually again. I'm still here. So
Karli had to work hard. It was like 70 BB, you guys. And I told her, I was like, no, it's happening today, right? Because it's like
mhm.
you also start realizing that these things that you thought were so hard or seemed like a lot of volume, you're like, I can do that in a day or half a day or whatever. But you guys, there's also times where you are working your tail off and you are doing your 4 core and it's just not lining up at your timing. And so this is why we don't wait till the last minute. Because I told Karli, she's like, why can't I get this last like perks member? I thought like I have all these cards sent out and whatever. And I'm like, that happens. And so, and she nailed it actually at the end of the month. But had she waited and hadn't been pushing all month long, that may not have happened because it happened because she was doing these things consistently all month long. Okay. So we're going to switch over to Dani, but Karli, thank you so much for sharing everything.
Yes,
That's
thank
super, super
you.
helpful. Dani, I'm going to find you. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Oh, I didn't even know I could do that. Hold on, Karli. I'll remove your spotlight, Karli's like, get it off me. Okay, Dani, yeah, you are unmuted. Okay, you guys, this is Dani. Dani is also Ruby. She's like, dang, she is so close. She'll probably honestly double promote this month. She was so close to Emerald last month. But Dani, there's a lot of stuff on the line. So this is okay. Like I always say this, you guys, I will never wait for like what's being announced next or whatever. But I've also learned that if it's not there, I'm not going to just like push it when it's not ready. And now coming up the next month, like there's always things that are coming. So just know that you got to stay excited. But okay, Dani, will you share a little bit just about yourself and your story, how you got started with It Works and what it's done for you so far?
All right. Well, I've known Sarah, I don't know what, 7, 8 years now. That's sad. I
Yeah,
don't know how long I've been with Robert,
probably.
but so I've kind of been watching this for that many years and just like, wow, that would be so cool. She does such a great job, but I live in the Midwest and people are skeptical 24/7. Until finally, we were gonna have Nash, and I was just like, screw it. Like, I don't care what anyone thinks, and I'm just gonna go for it. I needed that extra, I didn't need it, but I just wanted that extra income for daycare because holy crap, that's expensive. And so I just reached out to Sarah, and it just happened. I think there was, I don't know, one of the many promotions going on, and I just jumped on in that. I think it was the same day actually when I was like, I think I'm thinking about doing this. And then like 3 hours later, you're like, you should do it like tonight.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna stop you for 1 second. You guys, two people that are extremely close to me, both people commented on my story. A call to action. Dani literally, instead of texting me, she commented and voted on a story. Again, I was like, is this an accident or is she serious? However, I knew Dani like loved the products because she's used them. I bring them to the lake and I bring them when we're traveling and my whole family uses them. So anyways, but it's funny to me and I want you to know that because I think the other thing that we assume is that people know if they're interested that they should just come to us. You guys, they just don't. Like that's just not naturally what people do. So having that call to action in there, and then the other thing is we had an opportunity call that night. You remember that? So that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was I was putting out there if you were interested in learning more about this business, and it was with a corporate opportunity call that corporate offers for us. And I invite people into that because I'm like, even if they've seen me talk about it, for them to hear it from somebody else is so powerful. And so I asked Dani, I was like, would you want to hop on that? And she was like, yes. And literally, like she's not even halfway through and she's like, I'm signing up right now. Okay, so I just had to share that because again, how we think this looks sometimes, like I always tell people, I'm like, let it go because honestly, it just works out, but it's also like way more beautiful than most of us can envision. Like I would have never envisioned any of this. I'm sure even these girls, they're like, I had no idea that I was capable of what I'm doing right now, right? Or them just like hopping on a call to share and teach other people. Like you don't even feel sometimes worthy of that, but you are. Okay. So yeah, so go on and just share. You got started.
Yeah, so I got started and kind of lost my thought there, but
Sorry.
I got started and all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, like I talked to Robert and I was like, I think I'm gonna make $500 this month, like an extra income. And he's like, no, you're not. And I was like, I am. And then now we got to that and I was like, I'm gonna bring in an extra 1,000. And he's like, we're celebrating if you do that. So I finally got him on board and yeah, now I hate bringing my kid to daycare and all I think about all day long is how I want to stay at home and do this full time. I had messaged Sarah just the other day. I was like, I can't concentrate on work right now. I just want to message people.
Yeah, the things that you're scared of, you start getting excited. And you guys, honestly, I love that because that's your vision expanding and you understanding like what you're able to create with something when you don't have limits, right? Like when somebody is giving you the green light, and I think that's what is so game changing about this opportunity, even if you're doing it alongside a full time job, both Karli and Dani work. Like They are both working. When I did this, I was working. And even if you're not, that's okay. But I think sometimes people are like, think like that's a downfall. And really, you guys, it's not. It's just adding it. All it is adding more people to your network. So, okay. So you're excited. You already have your goal. She's gonna go Ruby. She already has her eyes on Diamond. But a lot has changed for you, even in the midst of like what happened when you went Ruby? Because when you went Ruby, probably over the last 2 months, you've you've literally doubled and tripled your enrollments. So you kind of got a little taste of what extra money, that extra income does, and are like, yeah, I know what I can do with this. Right?
Yep.
Okay. So what are 3 tips that you have for somebody that is just getting started and are on their way to go Ruby? Or even things that those that are helping people go Ruby, like what was helpful to you?
Well, communicating with your team, like just all the time, Sarah, my mentor, just checking in all the time and just being like, this is what we're gonna do. Like you're doing this, being able to ask questions and know that when you're messaging somebody that you're like, crap. I mean, you can have look at the boards, but sometimes you're like, well, this response that's on the board doesn't really fit. And you're like, crap, I don't want to lose this person. So just being able to ask questions and always being able to, I mean, my mentor thankfully is so responsive, so that's really great. And then the consistency. I think I try to post multiple things every day. And if it's not multiple things, it's at least one thing every day. And I actually, it's so funny. I have 2 male coworkers that were talking a couple weeks ago about how they wish there was a magic pill that they could lose weight and cure hangovers. And I don't like to talk about it works at my day job, just unless people ask, because I just don't want to get in trouble about that. And anyways, I just sat there and kind of smiled. And then the next week when I was at their location, they're like, Dani, you didn't tell us that you had something that's a cure-all. And I was like, well, you guys didn't ask specifically. I didn't want to say anything. Well, they'd seen it because I did host to post. And somebody bought I got a Perks member because of that works with at the same business as me, and they saw hers. So then they asked, and I got 2 guys from my from work that got the Slimming Trio, Aloe, and Skinny Brew.
Like huge orders, huge orders. And you guys, that's the power in like mixing, right? Like I always say, social, even if you're not. So what's funny is that Karli and Dani, prior to starting, they are both not like posters on social media. Like they were like, we don't even really use social
My
media.
biggest fear.
And you guys, like, I didn't either. I mean, you see me 11 years later, but like, I was not that either. And I love sharing that because what you see them doing, they're learning, right? And it can be, you guys, it can be some of the most basic stuff, but reusing, being resourceful, using the tools that you have, like they work. We have them there for a reason, right? And so, yeah, Dani, like that's something too. And I said that to her. I was like, you guys, you're not annoying, but people need to see, like, first of all, that you're serious about the products that you're sharing, right? And so if I just post once in a month and they're like, wow, okay, like I didn't see it for that long time, like you have to think if somebody has to see something 7 to 8 times before they actually even come to message you or vote on your story, if you're only doing it once a month, like that's 8 months that you're going to wait to sign somebody up. Or you can choose to show up consistently and sign them in the next week. Like I already know what option I want, you know? And so, yeah, Dani, you definitely, you started posting a lot more and it started paying off. And she was like, people are seeing my stuff. And I'm like, yes. And the cool thing is that if you are out and about, it brings up conversation, right? It brings up conversation to the people that you go see in person. Cause they're like, hey, what is that? I just saw it on your story or whatever it is. And so it was the same thing when I was working at the hospital. Like I showed up, they thought I was hacked, which was hilarious. I'm like, I'm not hacked. I'm so excited about this. But, and it was funny because same thing there. Like I couldn't talk about it at work and I was in a management position. And so I would literally have to tell the girls at work, I was like, you have to just call me when we're on our way home from our shift, you know? And I also purposefully did that, you guys, because I mean, I could say that. Like, if I got called in, I would be like, I can do whatever I want on my social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody can stop you from doing stuff like that. And so I made it a point to not talk about it too. But yeah, you're seeing with consistency that, and again, when she talks about communicating, I know every time that these girls sign somebody, I know. So whether it's a conversation that they're having, or like I could tell you who Dani's potential DTs are by name. Like we have these conversations. And so you want to make sure that if you are with in your building and you're serious about this, that you are like locked like this with whoever assigned you, because it's going to help you a lot. So did I miss one of your tips,
Um,
or did I? Yeah, I told Quita, she asked me in the hallway about it works. And I was like, yeah, girl, I have to call you after work. I was like, I can get in trouble. Okay. So yeah, consistently posting. Dani, you are also messaging. You are good. And I want you to share too, because last month, in the beginning of the month, Dani, you went to just, and you didn't even tell me you were doing this, but she kind of popped into host a post. And I don't know if it's because you heard it on a call or if
I
you just
did.
kept seeing it, but she was like, oh my gosh, I was host a posting. And you signed like 5 customers in less than 24 hours. Literally. So tell me what made you start, like where'd you went to do that and do that? Because I think that's important. So like for some people, because again, um host to post works, like it naturally has you doing the 4 core things that we do.
Yep. So I was on one of the Monday calls, and they were talking about doing their host post, and I was like, gosh, I need to do it. So I went through the boards and I just kind of read a few different things, the different ways to approach it, and I just went for it. And I had about some guys that were commenting on because I think I put something, I don't remember what my first one was, to draw attention. And the guys, they ghosted me after I requested it, but then I got the women that were like, yeah, sure, we'll give it a try. And I gained a couple perks members just from that. And then also then perks members from them posting for me. And I was like, damn, this is pretty easy. And plus then you're growing your network because you're adding them to Facebook or whatever social media you're on. And so then you're just getting that many more that you probably would have never connected before. Like I hit a whole new age group. Like I think I added a bunch of people in their 60s, and I would have never thought, but women in their 60s want that skinny brew.
Yeah, they're like, hook me up. um
Yeah.
and tell them, which host to post were you using? Because again, you didn't overcomplicate it. And I told her, I was like, if this is working, like you stick with it. Like don't try to mix up your host to post. Like just stick with what you were using. So which one were you using for your host to post?
It was just the skinny brew, just the skinny brew one, and just sent I don't know, a cup like this, one of the pictures that's in the boards filled with coffee. It was like super simple.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
Okay, and then so tell us, what have you found that has been like most helpful and influential in just getting you started, gaining that momentum, getting your enrollments, and being able to get to where you are now, where you're set up to pretty much have a double promotion for this month?
so well, my main thing, just sending the message. That was my biggest fear, was sending messages. I was too scared about people, what they would think of me. And so I started off just, that took me a while to just suck it up, send a bunch out, and then I just did it. And I was like, oh wow, I think I did like 20 one day, and I was like, well, that was easy. I mean, most of them ghosted me that day, but I was still, it's like, you did it, I did it, and I got some response, and it was great. And then it just got easier and easier, and as I've moved up and just can see the bigger picture, it's not just a message because I'm trying to get DTs now. It's just I want to bring people with me. Like I just, to see the goal and to just show people. Like I've been messaging a lot of moms lately, just, hey, like you seem, I don't know what, there's this one that I just sent, like I'm straight up like, I won't bug you anymore because it's actually people that I'm friends with, but I think that you would really benefit from this. You seem like we'd have the same goals in line, and just kind of feed off of that. And um so that's one of them. I forgot the question already. Oh,
Oh,
boards.
yeah.
boards, Insta story, and then the weekly calls.
Yeah, see, and that's so good. So really, you can see, you guys, like we're not complicating it. We are definitely have like a duplicatable system. Yes, Dani started hopping on the calls a lot too, and it's like it's funny because you will have aha moments in every single call. If anybody missed last Monday's or this past one, like that's like Sam's like cat to copy. Like I always say certain things like you want to hear, and she's very systematic. And so that's a really good one, even just to go back. But you guys, it's crazy what calls actually do for you. And then obviously, yes, putting in the work and stuff. And then using the resources that you have. And that's what they're doing. They're using boards. They're using our Instagram page so that they have stories and content to share. They're not worried necessarily about recreating. Now, Dani, you're starting to get to where you're like creating some of the things and
I
you're
was pretty
starting to
proud of
do
myself this
reels.
week. What was that?
You're starting to do reels.
Yep, I was pretty proud of myself this week. I made yesterday. I've been at home all week with Nash, and so I was like, I'm just gonna try this out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And so
rough, but I'm getting there.
yeah, and so the thing is like use what you have and then know that you're gonna start branching out. You start wanting to learn how to do that. You're like, I want to learn how to create my stories. Like, what apps do you guys use? You start learning the little tips and tricks as you go along, but don't overcomplicate it and make sure that you can first show up and do the simple things before you start trying to dive into learning all the crazy things. Okay. And then we kind of talked about this, but is there anything other tips, Dani, that you want to share that have helped you get Perks member? Like you were a Perks member enrolling machine last month. She told you that she did host a post. So that was her first month of ever trying host a post. And again, this was a good thing because she was pushing super hard just for volume, all set for Emerald. And I will tell you, like, it's funny because what you probably thought was hard, I think she proved to herself, like, she pulled in over like 500 in volume in like 3 hours on the last day of the month. And so again, you start realizing like when we're talking emerald and we're talking diamond and these things, and you hear a certain amount of volume and you're like, I have this many days to do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a done deal in your head. So it's so funny because it's like, Dani, if I would have told you, like, I remember telling you, and you were like, that's a lot of volume at first. And then you were like, oh, and then all of a sudden it changes from that to being like, okay, let's break it down. Like, let's break it down to daily. Let's figure this out. And again, you guys, it's not just you working. Like, I always tell these girls, like, if this is your promotion, you better be the hardest working one on that team right now. Right. And so, and you should, because it's going to give you so much pride in knowing not only do you know how to get there, but you will know how to stay there. And that is so important to me. I want you guys to hit these promotions and I want you to stay there and I want you to build on top of that every single month. But it's funny because what you probably thought was hard, now she's like, you have like a new little record for yourself. You're like, I can bring in 500 BV in a day if I want to. And if
Yes.
you have a driving force behind you, you can do it, so just share if there's anything that we didn't talk about that is helping you get those perks members, because those $50 bonuses, those were sweet, you guys. Those are unlimited. Like, those are nice.
Yes, they're very nice. And I will tell you, do not wait till the last day to try to get there because that was the first time I actually finally tried the stressless gummies. Thank God, because I think I was just like, that was intense. It was an intense
It's
evening. I think it
intense.
was like 11:30 my time. I texted Sarah like, all right, I have to throw in a towel. Like, I'm falling asleep now at this point, and like the adrenaline was it was intense. But yeah, it's just the host of post, just messaging people. I just texted. I went through my phone and was just texting people. I was like, literally just scrolled through. I was like, oh, I'll send them a message. I'll send them a message. I mean, the people. It's a great product you're offering, so it's not like you're just trying to get the volume, because you also want them to become perks members and be regular perks members, not just the 3 months and then be done. And we have products that you can keep buying and trying different ones. Like this month, I think I spent basically my paycheck this month just on my auto shipment, because there's stuff that I just was like, oh, I need those exfoliating pads because I'm going to the lake. I want to have just like a one-stop shop with those, and just there's so many things that we have to offer. And if you can just get people signed up to, even if it's the skinny coffee, and then they start looking through our website, you can have a lifetime, I'd say, perks members, if not try to get into the DT.
Dani, that just reminded me. You also have been making some of your stuff and bringing it to work because you've also been giving out samples.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just naturally she kind of started doing that. And so that's like another thing that I just want to share with you. Like, no matter where you're at or what you're doing, like, you guys, you can mix your hydrate, or you can like mix your coffee at work, or just different things. Like Dani, it was like, for the longest time, they're like, what is your coffee? It smells so good, and she's like, oh, And that's great. Like that's why you have your auto ship. And so you can make the samples. And more times than not, and people can attest to that that are on here too. It's like if they try it, most people are like, where the heck do I buy that? Like, how do I get that? Like, what is
Yep.
different about this, you know? And it's not stuff that they can get out of store. It's not the same, you know? So,
The,
any,
the Profi I brought last week when I got it, and I just had it sitting on my desk, and I think almost everybody that walked by was like, "Hey, do you guys want to try this?" It's a brand new product. I'm kind of just looking for reviews, because I don't want to be trying to upsell it to people for the first time Perks members if it's questionable. Like I want to get them hooked on something that I know is really good. So that was my way of sneakily trying to get the Profi across to people.
yeah, so you've been doing that sneakily too. Just kind of again, you don't have to be pushy. It's just there and offering it. Okay. Any questions that you guys have for Dani or Karli? Thank you so much to both of you for hopping on sharing. You guys, like I said, they like didn't even blink an eye when I asked them, and I'm like, damn, you girls are brave. Like I would have been like, if somebody would have asked me, I'd been like, you're joking, right? Like, what do you want me to do? But when you're actually doing it, and that's what I even have told them, when you're leading these people, like you're just sharing what you're doing. And if you're doing things that are duplicatable, which is what we always try to do, you guys, that's leading. You lead by doing, right? You lead by being that example. And I can say to anybody here on our team, I'm like, go follow my story, steal my post. Like I'm doing the things that I'm telling you to do. And again, eventually you kind of just, these girls can probably attest that you make a decision that you're like, if success leaves clues, you go copy and do what other people are doing. And clearly the things that people are doing work, right? Even the whole process of it and trusting it works. So they said, what would be one tip you could give to a new person joining? Dani, you're unmuted, so just answer that first. And then if Karli can unmute and answer.
Oh, one tip? That's tough.
What would be your top tip for somebody joining?
My top tip, don't be scared. Just do it.
Yeah.
If I
How
had
about
to
you,
just
Karli?
I think that I would just like essentially the same thing, just like get out of your own way and just
Mhm.
like blaze your own trail and do it for yourself and just yeah, just take the jump, just do it.
And then it really, and I think what happens when they say that is like trusting the process that somebody's giving you, right? Like, and I've told these girls that, and I've even said this on Zoom. So you guys, like, nobody wants to waste your time. So if there's something that doesn't get a good return, or isn't bringing me traction, or isn't bringing me back to messaging, like that's your ultimate goal. There's money in the messages, right? There's fortune in the follow up. Like there's money in the messages. So everything we do, our goal is to get in conversation with somebody always. Okay. And so I always just tell them, I'm like, I am not going to tell you anything that I am not doing. But like, I also can't make you do it. So I'm going to tell you how, but I need you to pick up the tools and like do it. And so when they say that, they're like, you just have to start doing it. And you do. You just have to start doing the things. And you're going to be scared at first, and it may take you a long time the first time, but eventually, like Dani, you don't even think about not posting anymore, right? Like before it was like, oh my gosh, I have to think to myself, I have to post about products, right? And now it's like a day doesn't go by and it doesn't matter. Like I told her too, I was like, get rid of the timeline. Like I don't care if it's not 8 o'clock in the morning and you didn't get to post about the coffee. Like Dani will get home after working, and it's like I will see her pop up all her stories in a, I'm like, oh, she sat down. She's like probably feeding Nash, or she's doing something, and she literally shoots off her stories so that they're there. Nobody pays attention to when you actually pop your stuff up, right? So like I think that's just a great thing. It's just trusting the process that somebody's laying out for you and just doing it, because you guys, it does pay off. And none of us are going to tell you to do something that we're not doing ourselves, or that we don't think is working. Because remember, if you're helping other people succeed, you are essentially helping yourself do the exact same thing. So,
And
okay.
with your stories, like you said, it doesn't matter when you do it.
Mm-mm.
Another thing, they're there for 24 hours. So whether they see it at 9 p.m., it might recircle and they see it again in the morning.
Yeah.
And so just remembering it's there for 24 hours. So the whole like, well, do you want to post a coffee or the aloe starting your day at 8 p.m.? Well, yeah, just because you're posting it, that doesn't mean that everyone's going to see it at 8 a.m. Like they're probably going to see it at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
or 8
You
p.m.
guys,
I
a
should
lot
say.
of times, like I will load up my stories. at nighttime because I'm like, okay, if I know I have a busy day the next day, or like we're traveling and we're going to be traveling soon, like I know that day that I'm traveling, I have 3 kids. Like mama's going to be keeping the peace for like a 5 hour flight. Like I am not going to be trying to, that's not what I'm going to be trying to message and post on my stories. But what I will do, knowing that I'm going to have a crazy day, is like I will go before I go to bed and I will load up my stories with my morning routine and what that looks like. And then I'll pop on whenever we get to where we are and I'll take off from there, right? So that it's already there and like planning ahead. And that's something that these girls do well too. Like Karli last month, Karli was gone. Like she was on vacation for like 12 days.
Mhm.
Dani, they're like starting lake season, right? They're gone in the weekends. And I'm like, you know what? Like put in your work in the morning or kind of know what your day is going to look like. But like you will never regret showing up for your goal and still reaching that and knowing like there's a light bulb that goes off that's like, you can have both things. Dani can go every single weekend and she can go enjoy the lake and she can still have a thriving business. Karli, she can go spend 12 days with her family and she can still have a booming business. Like she mixed it, right? She went and met somebody in person. And like, that's the other thing I tell them. Like, if you can meet anybody in person, like you always do it because you will probably sign them up. So plain and simple. But yeah, okay, I think that was just the last question. So thank you so much, you guys. I'm going to stop the recording on this so that we have it. And then the other thing I want to tell you guys